China just built a pickup truck with a diesel engine and a plug-in hybrid battery working together in the same drivetrain at the same time. And before you shrug that off, sit with this for a second. No American truck brand has ever done that. Not Ford, not Ram, not GM. Not once in the entire history of the pickup truck. China just got there first. I know exactly what you're thinking right now because I thought the same thing. There's no way that's real. But stay with me because this thing is called the Chery Stockman and it's landing in Australian showrooms before the end of this year. Canada's next. Europe's next. America, well, we'll get to that. And it's going to sting a little. This is one of the most over-engineered pickup trucks to ever come out of China, and by the end of this video, you're going to be genuinely annoyed that it isn't legal to buy here yet. Let's start with the front end because the sheer presence of this thing is honestly a little unsettling. If this pulled up in your rear-view mirror on the highway, you'd move over without thinking twice. It's got an aggressively wide body stance that makes a Ford Ranger look almost toy-sized parked next to it. The grille alone is massive, imposing, and completely unapologetic about it. But it's the lighting that really steals the show. Chery fitted sharp, circular LED headlights that give the front end an almost sci-fi tactical look. Less farm truck, more military transport vehicle pulled out of 2040. And here's what really stands out. American mid-size trucks usually chase that tough but compact look and end up landing somewhere in between, a little squished. The Stockman doesn't compromise. It stands 1,890 millimeters tall, nearly 75 inches, and it commands the space around it. Look closer at the lower bumper and you'll find genuine heavy-duty skid plates and reinforced recovery points, not the usual molded silver plastic dressed up to look tough. This is functional hardware, built to actually take abuse. Walk down the side and the scale of this truck really sets in. It measures 5,450 millimeters long. That's 214.6 inches. And Chery has been upfront about the comparisons. 120 millimeters longer than a Ford Ranger, 130 millimeters longer than a Toyota Hilux, well past the Isuzu D-Max too. You're getting full-size road presence packaged inside a mid-size footprint, sitting on a 3,250 millimeter wheelbase that pushes the wheels all the way out to the corners for stability. It rolls off the factory floor on all-terrain tires as standard, with a minimum of 247 millimeters of ground clearance before the suspension even gets involved. And that suspension setup, which we'll get to in a minute, borrows a page straight out of the hypercar playbook. The body lines run sharp and muscular from the front fender all the way back to the tub. Aerodynamic where it needs to be, blocky and confident everywhere else. But the real business happens around back. The cargo bed on the Stockman is a nearly perfect square cavern, 1,560 millimeters long, 1,560 millimeters wide, and 500 millimeters deep. That's over 61 inches in both directions and close to 20 inches of depth, adding up to 1,276 liters of total cargo volume. Dirt bikes, a full weekend of camping gear, half a hardware store. None of it's a stretch for this bed. The tailgate is heavily damped, so it lowers under control instead of slamming down and rattling your wrist. And inside the bed, you get up to 36 separate anchor points for tie-downs, enough to secure almost anything you could reasonably load in. Here's the detail that actually surprised me. 48% of the body panels are galvanized steel, meaning the outer shell is essentially wearing built-in rust armor against rain, road salt, and general corrosion. That's a level of rust protection you'd typically pay extra for on most trucks sold in North America, if it's offered at all. And once we get to the powertrain, you'll see the Stockman is rated to tow 3,500 kilograms braked, over 7,700 pounds of boats, trailers, or equipment. Now for the part that actually matters most, what's hiding under that massive hood? Because this might be the single biggest cheat code in the modern pickup truck world. Normally, buyers are told to pick one lane. Diesel gives you low-end grunt and towing muscle. A plug-in hybrid gives you smooth efficiency. You don't get both. That's been the accepted rule for years. Chery apparently decided that rule didn't need to exist and built what amounts to a diesel super hybrid powertrain instead. Underneath the hood sits a 2.5-liter turbocharged diesel engine paired directly with an advanced plug-in hybrid electric system. Combined, the setup produces 350 kilowatts of output, close to 470 horsepower. But horsepower is really the sports car number. Trucks live or die on torque, and the Stockman delivers 800 newton meters of it, roughly 590 pound-feet. For context, that's about 100 newton meters more than the widely praised BYD Shark 6, and it leaves a standard Ford Ranger well behind. Step on the accelerator, and the electric motor's torque hits instantly, while the diesel spools in underneath it to carry you through the top end. A genuinely relentless wave of power that's hard to picture fully loaded with a trailer on the hitch. And because it's a plug-in hybrid, you're not burning diesel for every mile of it. The Stockman is rated for up to 100 kilometers of electric-only driving on the NEDC cycle, meaning the daily commute, the school run, and the grocery run can realistically happen entirely on electric power with zero diesel burned. When the engine does kick in, Chery is quoting combined fuel consumption of just 2.0 liters per 100 kilometers, the equivalent of well over 100 miles per gallon in a heavy-duty four-wheel drive pickup truck. That's a genuinely strange number to see attached to a truck this size. The chassis backs all of this up with a high-performance double wishbone front suspension paired with heavy-duty leaf springs at the rear to manage that payload, plus 3 locking differentials, a dedicated off-road crawl control system, and a tight turn assist feature that actively drags the inner rear wheel to help pivot the truck, almost like a tank turn. Before getting into the interior, which, fair warning, is genuinely nicer than a lot of luxury SUVs, it's worth covering how this truck handles a crash, because moving 3.5 tons of metal around demands serious structure behind the styling. The Stockman's frame uses up to 52.2% high-strength steel, built as a reinforced cage designed to absorb and redirect major impact energy. Inside, occupants are covered by up to 7 airbags positioned to protect essentially every corner of the cabin. And rather than shipping an off-the-shelf safety system and hoping it translates, Chery reportedly flew engineers to Australia to drive the local roads, benchmark against local competitors, and tune the ADAS system specifically for those conditions, meaning the adaptive cruise control, lane keeping, and automatic emergency braking are calibrated against real-world driving, not just a closed test track. This is the part where legacy truck brands should genuinely feel a little embarrassed. Open the door of the Stockman and you're not stepping into a work truck. You're stepping into something closer to an executive lounge. Look up. The roof lining, door panels, and dashboard are wrapped in premium, ultra-soft suede trim, the kind of material you'd normally expect to find in a 6-figure luxury SUV, not bolted into a work vehicle. The seats are wrapped in supple leather, both heated and ventilated up front, so it's covered whether you're dealing with a freezing morning or a summer job site. Then there's the dashboard centerpiece, a 15.6-inch floating display, crystal clear, high refresh rate, wide viewing angle, functioning as the control hub for navigation, the audio system, and a full 360-degree camera setup, viewable comfortably by both driver and passenger. Below it sit dual wireless phone charging pads, and for anyone who prefers not to glance away from the road, there's a head-up display projecting speed, navigation, and hybrid battery status directly onto the windshield. The rear seats fix one of the most consistently annoying things about pickup trucks in general. The floor back there is completely flat, no transmission tunnel hump eating into legroom, and the rear backrest actually reclines up to 26 degrees. A 26-degree rear seat recline in a pickup truck. Chery has said outright they designed the rear cabin to feel like a luxury SUV, and on paper, it genuinely does. So it looks aggressive, drives with serious power, and rides in luxury. But is it actually livable day to day? Surprisingly, yes. The 5,450mm length combined with smart packaging of the hybrid battery leaves the cabin feeling genuinely spacious. A big grocery run disappears easily into that bed, and because the tailgate sits at a manageable height, loading heavy items doesn't turn into a workout. The The rear doors open wide enough to make loading a bulky rear-facing car seat or a full-size stroller straightforward, and that flat rear floor means a stroller can slide across the back seat without snagging on anything. Storage inside is well thought out too. A deep glove box, a center console large enough for a tablet or a camera, and door pockets specifically shaped to hold large water bottles securely. On a long road trip, between the silent electric-only range, a strong sound system, and rear seats that recline, the kids are realistically asleep before you're even on the highway. Now for the number that actually makes this whole story land. A truck with a 2.5-liter turbo diesel hybrid drivetrain, 800 Newton-meters of torque, a suede interior, a 15.6-inch display, and a 3,500-kilogram towing rating sounds like an $85,000 vehicle by American standards. And a fully loaded Ford F-150 Power Boost hybrid can genuinely land north of $80,000.